Chosen one, family, lean in. This isn't just another talk, it's a roll call. The kind of moment where your future taps you on the shoulder and says, "Tag me in." If you made it here with doubt in one pocket and a dream in the other, perfect. You're exactly the kind of person who turns pressure into proof. Some of you came from quiet rooms where no one clapped. Some of you carried wins so heavy you forgot they were wins. And yet here you are, breathing, ready, dangerous in the best way. The pace is about to pick up. Opportunities won't knock. They'll wave you over. And when they do, I don't want polite confidence. I want head up, shoulders back, I belong here energy. Consider tonight your green light. We're trading small talk for big moves, shrinking for stretching, excuses for execution. Your story doesn't need permission, it needs momentum. Your skills are not random, they're arranged. Your setbacks weren't dead ends. They were detours to capacity. So take a breath. Feel that? That's your next level warming up. We're not here to look successful. We're here to be undeniable. Keep your heart clean, your standards high, and your hands ready. The room's watching, but more importantly, your future is. Let's lock in, turn it up, and make the kind of noise that sounds like destiny arriving on time. Looking for purpose and peace? Hit subscribe and start the journey. Not every overflow is a prize. Sometimes it's an exam wrapped in velvet. A sudden deposit feels like relief until it behaves like altitude. Thin air that exposes what your inner lungs never trained for. When options are few, routes are narrow and caution is natural. When doors swing open all at once, corridors multiply, and so do hidden traps. Windfalls don't just buy comfort, they hand over levers. And levers reveal whether motives are clean or smudged. The itch to parade, the ache to be noticed, the unquiet ache left by old scarcity. If roots are tangled in yesterday's lack, the account will steer the soul instead of serving it. The giver isn't staging a parade of favor. The giver is weighing caretaking. Wealth isn't a metal pin to a chest. It's an instrument that needs tuning. In unhealed hands, that instrument becomes a high-speed car in the grip of a brand-new driver. The wreck isn't the engine's fault. So long stretches of waiting show up first, not as penalties, but as training miles. They sand down greed, unseat insecurity, and teach the heart to breathe without applause. Abundance doesn't simply decorate life. It sorts the heart's inventory. What is loved, what is feared, who is trusted, what is unmended. Many pray for an open gate, yet resist the daylight that shows the dust. The ones set apart read the moment differently. If provision this weighty arrives, the scales have already tipped in favor of readiness. Money doesn't rewrite character so much as project it onto a bigger wall. With it comes reach, eyes, access, an expansion pack that amplifies whatever sat quietly in the background. A sour core turns impulsive. A fragile ego starts chasing nods from strangers. A thirst for control learns to pull strings with receipts. The notes didn't create the tune. They made it louder in the room. The promise that more will finally make me whole collapses fast. If the well was empty, extra buckets only show how dry the stone is. Think of wealth like dye poured into plumbing. It races through the system and makes every leak obvious. Without mastery of appetite, it's easy to confuse numbing with joy. Feel God's love stirring within you? Don't let it stop there. Hit the super thank you button and sow a seed of $20 or more. That simple act can ignite hope, heal hearts, and carry His love further than you imagine. You were made to shine His light. This is your moment. Be the miracle someone's been praying for. Let heaven move through you. That's why seasons of little are often apprenticeships. Training under low ceilings where the ego gets quiet, the traumas lose their grip, and habits are re-engineered. Faith kept with small things forecasts trust with large ones. If the key ring is neglected, vault doors are unsafe. And when attention swells, affection and agreements can blur, and every nod starts to feel suspect, unless the soul stays anchored in what is true. Money itself isn't villain or saint, it's a multiplier. For the called, the assignment isn't for the stack to shout. It's for understanding to outpace the balance, because wisdom, not noise, is what keeps the gain from unraveling. What looked like silence was a veil, not a snub. Earlier overflow would have slipped through careless hands and into circles that mistook access for entitlement. With vision still forming, generosity would have fed bottomless pits, connections good at collecting, poor at returning. The pause wasn't rejection. It was restraint while the room was still crowded. Resources amplify visibility, and visibility attracts orbiters. When emotions are raw, familiarity masquerades as fidelity, and long timelines get mistaken for loyalty. Longevity doesn't equal alignment. So time was allowed to sort what talk could not. Seasons exposed motives. Letdowns refined judgment. Not cruelty, calibration. Untimely abundance can trip the unsteady. Those marked for uncommon assignments aren't merely handed numbers. They're entrusted with reach that bends futures. Such weight cannot rest on yesterday's reflexes. The pace slowed so backbone could be built. Quiet stretches to strengthen spirit, pruning to simplify the table, honest work with old wounds, practice in standing firm without applause. Peace learned in tight spaces becomes armor in wide ones. Distance was created from watchers who loved the forecast more than the foundation. Some were near for the headline, not the heavy lifting. Once the sifting finished, the view cleared. Who remained recognized worth without needing proof from wealth. And that is exactly why the timing will make sense when the gates finally open. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. What arrives isn't a trophy case. It's a toolkit. Increase is not random, and it isn't for performance. It's provision for purpose, fuel for blueprints, scaffolding for work that outlives the builder. The aim isn't to dazzle timelines, but to underwrite change, planting ideas that become institutions, backing truth-tellers, engineering spaces of safety and repair. The weight stretched because capacity had to catch up with opportunity. If assets land before assignment is understood, they get burned on approval. If they land after character is tempered, they compound for decades. Strategy, not spectacle. Supply follows stewardship because the road ahead demands conviction and capital. That's why the hunger to be seen was starved, so vision wouldn't be traded for applause. When the door swings, the plan is already drawn. Build quietly, fund what frees, platform the overlooked, answer whispered needs with no receipt demanded. This isn't a season to pose. It's a season to construct, to turn blessing into bridges, acclaim into access for others, and increase into impact that keeps working long after the noise fades. In this lean stretch, movements are being weighed by people who trade in discretion, keepers of chances who unlock corridors that cash alone can't open. They're not dazzled by glitter or volume. They watch for steadiness. They measure what persists when applause goes missing, discipline that doesn't fray, ethics that don't wobble, generosity that doesn't consult a calculator, patience that doesn't bargain with time. They've sifted through charisma before. Shine is a frequent visitor. What's rare is inner ballast paired with modest means. That contrast is the tell. Notes are being made. Some hold the levers that place projects on tracks. Some are wired into networks that accelerate blueprints. Others feel a pull to align resources with lives shaped by endurance. The delay isn't capital. The delay is readiness. When character and craft synchronize, timing stops dragging its feet. The dry season wasn't wasted. It forged muscle memory for stewardship. Brickwork advanced without witnesses. Plans were refined without hashtags, and corners stayed square when shortcuts looked inviting. That is why eyes have turned, not because of pleading or posturing, but because the work carries a gravity that can't be staged. When the latch finally lifts, it may look sudden to onlookers, but it will feel like an arrival you trained for in the dark. While billboards were being rented, foundations were being poured. That is the credential, an ability to hold increase without cracking, to aim power without waste, to dispense outcomes without losing the compass. Keep delivering precise, quiet excellence. The ones who decide what opens are nearer than the echo suggests. Feel God's love stirring within you? Don't let it stop there. Hit the super thank you button and sow a seed of $20 or more. That simple act can ignite hope, heal hearts, and carry His love further than you imagine. You were made to shine His light. This is your moment. Be the miracle someone's been praying for. Let heaven move through you. Prosperity won't only bless. It will unsettle people who built a ranking in their heads and filed you on a lower shelf. Your elevation scrambles their script, not because you cheated the process, but because their scorecard said you should stay in the waiting room. To those unready to face their own stalled work, your rise feels like theft. It confronts projects they never started, courage they outsourced to excuses, and growth they kept postponing. They will rename your momentum to make it easier to swallow. Fortunate timing, a lucky break, a suspicious shortcut. Owning that your outcome came from quiet repetition, private yes, and long stretches of being misread would require admitting that they let their window close. The discomfort isn't your assets. It's what your life reveals about abandoned assignments. You become a diagnostic light. Wherever avoidance hides, it shows. That clarity stings. Yet promotion isn't a popularity contest. Alignment outranks status. Selection moves toward congruence, toward people whose insides can carry the weight their outside requests. So don't donate energy defending your right to be here. Let commentary echo into the hallway while you keep building rooms that serve. Call it legacy, not vengeance, repair, not spectacle. What multiplies isn't only resources, it's endurance, humility, and clean motives. That storehouse is the part critics can't counterfeit. They'll search for smoke and find structure. They'll look for shortcuts and meet scaffolding. Keep moving with clear hands. What some call an accident is simply the fruit of long, hidden accuracy. Solitude is the receipt that often comes stapled to progress. Sudden resources rarely amplify chatter. They muffle it. The atmosphere shifts, not because the core changed, but because proximity contracts and permissions get renegotiated. Access requests arrive as if they were owed. Guilt gets dressed up as advice. Accusations of forgetting beginnings surface when the real move is protecting the calm that keeps decisions clean. The map redraws itself. Who was attached to the storm and who was anchored to the person. That roster, it turns out, is leaner than the highlight reel suggested. Expectations surface like ink under UV. Applause morphs into side-by-side scorekeeping. Friendliness turns whisper-sharp. Disappearances happen without a goodbye, and stage support hides crossed fingers. Sorting loyalty from performance can feel like punishment. It isn't. It's shielding. Some companions were perfect for first aid, not long-term care. With unguarded access to surplus, they would have siphoned the very capacity you're meant to steward. That's why the call list shrinks, the dialogue deepens, and the quiet stretches. It's distillation, not exile. In that hush, guidance gets audible, strategy stops competing with static, and choices can be made without an audience tugging on the sleeve. Without a rooted aim, the stillness feels airless. With it, the silence reads like a green light. Not every seat belongs in the control room. Some were always meant for the balcony. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. An influx doesn't just invite chances. It attracts velvet snares dressed as upgrades, partnerships that sparkle, terms that flatter, offers stamped unmissable. Alignment, however, isn't guaranteed by logos or pitch decks. There are suitors fluent in your dialect who mirror your mission and press all the right emotional buttons. Yet underneath the silk are levers built for control. These aren't ordinary agreements. They're bindings that outlive signatures, and extracting yourself takes more than clever counsel. That is why the summit outranks spreadsheets in breakthrough seasons. Read for motive, for origin of capital, for the behaviors a clause will normalize, for the reputation it tethers you to a decade from now. Beware the fast lane that loans you a megaphone but confiscates your message. Be careful with platforms that applaud in public and invoice your soul in private. Not every open door belongs on your floor plan. Keep inputs clean. Choose partners whose principles rhyme with yours, and decide from settled clarity. Not countdown clocks, not zeros on a wire. Walk away when the compass leans no, even if the check is loud. Prosperity with a leash is captivity. Guard the blueprint. Pause before ink dries. Provision that's truly, for you won't demand you misplace your center to keep it. Crossing a large number doesn't tuck the story in. It kicks open a new wing of it. Treat that first big figure like a launch sequence, not a lounge chair. Visibility spikes. The same face that drew yawns yesterday becomes a signal tower, and signal towers attract both pilots and pirates. Masks around you recalibrate. Smiles brighten while intentions get sharper. Paperwork starts arriving with teeth. Conversations arrive scented with urgency. Invitations come stitched with obligations you didn't request. Old limits try to reassert themselves like legacy software reinstalling without permission. Habits, fears, and family narratives lobbying to be restored to default. Breaking pattern turns you into a reference point for everyone who came before and everyone who comes next, which means every choice starts carrying generational weight. That is why your filters must get strict. Audit rooms, not just numbers. Interrogate the why behind every handshake. Assume microphones are always on and respond like a steward, not a star. Applause can be camouflage for extraction. Proximity can be a strategy, not affection. Keep exit routes. Decline cleanly. Guard stillness like capital. The headline isn't that a balance changed. It's that a bell rang announcing a different league of contest, social, ethical, operational. Play it like a commander. Build redundancies. Rotate counsel. Make pace your ally, not pressures. What looks like a blessing in spreadsheets becomes a test in real time. Of boundaries, of focus, of courage to leave deals on the table. Remember, notice is public, but covering can be, too. The actual treasure here isn't the zeros. It's the sharper sight line, the sturdier spine, and the repeatable method forged in the friction. That is the win you carry forward. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. This elevation isn't a scoreboard, it's a route map. The assignment isn't to flash brighter than neighbors. It's to carry farther than borders. What arrives isn't a trophy, it's a set of valves. Capital becomes a transit system, turning throughways into lifelines. Scholarships where promise hid in plain sight. Clinics where care ran thin. Ventures that create honest work. Art that rehumanizes. Solutions that dissolve predatory patterns. Think aqueduct, not aquarium. The aim is reach, not rank. That way you felt. It corresponds to radius. You're preparing for distribution at a scale that outgrows personal narratives, where one decision tunes entire districts and redirects family forecasts. Generosity here is kinetic. It sparks chains of events, launches leaders, and retires excuses. To hold that role, the interior posture has to shift. No hoarding to soothe insecurity. No purchases meant to settle arguments with the past. No spending that performs louder than it heals. Keep inputs ethical, pipelines transparent, and outcomes accountable. Influence will outsize the name attached to it, and that is the point. The honor is to give in measures most only dream of receiving, quietly, accurately, again and again, until neighborhoods read differently on the ground. Let others chase volume. Choose impact density. When they scan your record, let the remarkable thing be what is repaired. Homes stabilized, futures funded, harm unlearned. That is the kind of abundance that writes history without asking for a spotlight. Feel God's love stirring within you? Don't let it stop there. Hit the super thank you button and sow a seed of $20 or more. That simple act can ignite hope, heal hearts, and carry His love further than you imagine. You were made to shine His light. This is your moment. Be the miracle someone's been praying for. Let heaven move through you. Rapid prosperity summons the past to your doorstep. As circumstances rise, familiar names will ping your phone, some with polished warmth, some with quiet remorse, others still keeping score like before. There were days they rolled eyes at your struggle, mishandled your trust, and erased your effort when the room was empty. Their return rarely signals growth. It often reflects new gravity around you. Many won't name the harm. They'll skate over the dents, maybe even hint they sparked your climb. The urge will flare to flaunt upgrades, to freeze them out, to make the ledger balance in public. That isn't leadership. It's spending clean air on old smoke. New resources widen your options, and the sharpest choice is simple: punish or release. Who you're becoming is traced not by clapbacks, but by what no longer tugs a reply from your throat. Forgiveness isn't surrender. It's strength choosing a lighter pack. Help where conscience says yes. Keep distance where safety says no. And drop the brick you've carried as proof. Prosperity is a stress test for character as much as a lift in lifestyle. Travel with wisdom, not weight. Reconnection isn't required. Resentment is optional. Let go. Not because they've earned a pass, but because your mind deserves an uncluttered room. Quiet steadiness is the statement, and release is the emblem. Big wins can make old echoes sound louder. When access expands and routines shift, a small inner voice may question credentials, wearing the mask of modesty while carrying the dust of long seasons being underestimated. Years of playing the outsider can linger. The mind needs time to catch up with the life now in motion. It may feel unreal, guilt may knock, and patterns may tempt a return to familiar scarcity. Remember this: preparation rarely announces itself. The work happened off camera, skills sharpened, boundaries learned, resilience layered brick by brick. This chapter is not a clerical error by chance. It's a receipt for time invested. That anxious whisper claims one misstep will erase everything. Practice says consistency already laid a foundation no rumor can lift. Enter the room without shrinking. Claim space without swagger. Stand with steadiness, not noise. The hard seasons, losses, betrayals, stretches of being unseen were rehearsal for this stage. Now, with the lights up, breathe, focus, and perform the craft you built in quiet. Belonging isn't borrowed. It's earned by repetition and integrity. Take the seat, do the work, and trust the groundwork beneath you. Random luck didn't carry this weight. Discipline did.